Okay, happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're doing well. There's some really interesting conversation right now on whether to buy in the villages. Some of you that live in the villages, actually, we get a lot of buyers here that live here that are looking to upgrade, whether it seems like most of the buyers seem to like their specific areas. It's rare that buyers will cross over. So, in other words, if you live north of 466, in the villages, you normally stay there. Normally, it's not always. There's some exceptions to that. Between the sixes, people like to be between the sixes because it's closer to Sumter Landing. North of 466, obviously, it'd be Spanish Springs. South of 466A, all the way down past 44, all the way past the Turnpike and the newer areas in the southern areas of the villages. It would be Brownwood, and of course, the newer town square that's coming up. So I think that when we're looking at movement and whether people should buy now, we're going to look at a couple of things today, right? So, but before we get to the slides, I got a couple of slides for everybody. The first thing is that we're looking at inventory. Inventory is at 85 properties on the marketplace in the villages. That's a little bit higher. That's probably the peak that we've seen in the last 6 months. But it's not a dramatic peak. We've seen it bounce around over the last 7 to 10 days, where it was probably 85 and then came down to 80, and now we're up to 85 now. It'd be interesting to see what happens for next week, but we're keeping a close eye as to see, if the inventory keeps rising up. And that's one of the arguments for people that are thinking about, should I move right now? Should I buy right now, or should I wait? We've talked about it a lot on this channel, whether there's a market crash, and I don't think there is, but maybe there's a tough, rough landing. Maybe it's a soft landing. Maybe it's going to keep going up. I mean, that's kind of the question that a lot of people ask. And there's a lot of evidence that indicates that this is going to be kind of a soft landing. We seem to be plateauing in the marketplace, where we are seeing competition for homes, but it's not crazy like what we saw between February and June of this year. So I'm going to share with you a couple of slides that I think are going to be helpful, and you can make up your own mind. By the way, if you guys have comments, leave the comments in the comment section. Also, if you have questions, by the way, if you need some advice on anything, because obviously I've been a broker for a long time, 17 years, and I had more hair back then, of course. But for 17 years, I've been helping all of my agents and all of my realtors here at Realty Executives. We've been number one in this marketplace. We've sold thousands and thousands of homes here at Realty Executives. We've got name recognition, and we've just got a lot of experience. I've got a lot of experience helping my people through the process. Once upon a time, I was in production, and I help people with that. So, and I also coach people for a living. So I understand the business very well. There's probably not much more I do know except for this, and understanding trends and which way are things moving. So if you have questions, you can text me as well. If you're not comfortable calling me, you can text 352-572-3796, 352-572-3796. But when we're looking at this is one slide I wanted to share. The three reasons why listings may continue to increase throughout this fall and into the winter. And the first one is pent up selling demand. Maybe some people, and this is national stuff here, and we'll kind of see how that fits into the local marketplace. But one thing is that pent up demand. We might see some people that were afraid to let people in because of COVID, that type of thing. We see some of that. Maybe we saw more of that last year, pre-vaccine. I think we saw a lot of that last year, which is why last year was I wouldn't say a down year. It was actually pretty strong, but it wasn't as strong as 19, and certainly 21 has been a better year. But moving into the remainder of this year and into next year, I think what we can see is there's going to be a little bit more inventory, maybe slightly more inventory on people that maybe feel a little bit safer. But I think also, to add to this, people that want to cash in their chips because the market is higher and they've got more equity than what they did 6 or 7 months ago. So a little bit more inventory, and I think we're seeing some of that too. The second thing is new construction on the property of the villages side. That seems to be improving ever so slightly. There are waiting lists for the new construction, but the big thing is That seems to be moving forward a little bit faster, a little bit. The third thing is the end of forbearance. Now, that's not a big impact in our marketplace. I think that might be more of an impact outside of the villages, where, if we look at the foreclosures that actually occurred between, six, from seven all the way to 11, there's many more foreclosures outside the villages than inside the villages. So I expect that forbearance would affect more of the other areas, which means if more inventory exists in other areas, it might take a little bit longer for people to sell their home, and hence try to buy here as we're coming, as the feeder markets are in our area. It might take a little bit longer to sell the home, slightly longer. But I wouldn't expect, I'm not expecting a lot of impact from the end of the forbearance, although we might see a little bit of that here. Okay, so there might be a slight increase in inventory. I'm expecting more of very much of what we're seeing right now into next year, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised if we jumped up to 100 and something properties, but it's not something to freak out over, because guess what? We've been seeing tons of inventory in the past. Last year in the mid 400s, of course, as you know, for the people that have been watching my channel. So maybe a little bit more inventory. I would expect that maybe over the next couple of months. We'll see. It wouldn't be surprised if we went to 100, 110 over the next 60 to 90 days on inventory. Right now at 85, if you missed it. So let's look at now. This is a case for, let's wait to buy something because inventory is going to go up. That's the case for that. Now let's look at something else that might be beneficial for you, and that's this. This is kind of interesting. Now, most of our, we're probably about 50% of the people that buy here in our area are cash versus financing. But a lot of people say, you know what? Wait, interest rates are really low, so it might be an opportunity for me not to pay cash and actually use financing. So that's definitely an opportunity. But let's take a look at the numbers. So you're looking at interest rates. If interest rates are at 2.75 and versus like 4.0, right? You're seeing it here on the chart. 2.75 at a $400,000 purchase price, you're looking at 1633. Okay, would be the payment on 4%, 1900. So we're looking at $270, right, roughly. Through 320, you're looking at $222 difference. So a $200 difference between 4% and 2.75. That's basically what we're seeing here. So, this at 4%, by the way, wouldn't be a big shock for many people in the industry if that's where we went, because we were there prior to 2020. And if we went there again in 2022, that would be not a big shock. But this tells me, look, there's going to be some impact on the marketplace when interest rates go up to 4%, because some people might say, you know what, no, I don't want to purchase anymore because it's a couple $100 more. That does happen. I would say that predominantly that's not a big, I don't see that being a massive impact, because in our marketplace, a couple $100 is not going to prevent people from buying their dream home, buying their retirement place, moving to Florida, all of that. Right now, all of the state of Florida has gone bananas in real estate. We're probably still one of the warmest markets in the country, but I also know from history that all cycles come to an end. We're in this bull run in real estate, and eventually it's not going to be a bull run. It's going to be a bear. I'm not predicting that tomorrow. I think that's going to be us. I think we're several years away from that, but that gives you an idea of, some of the things that are on people's minds right now, some concepts of waiting for inventory. But, that last chart is really the cost of waiting. What's going to be the cost of waiting if you do wait? Interest rates going up will cost you a little bit of purchasing power. But I don't expect that to be a major impact moving forward. One thing I do want to look at, there's one thing I do want us to look at before we adjourn, is I want us to look at, let me see if I can pull this up. So this is basically, this is everything that's on the market right now, right? Like I said before, we're looking at 85 properties that are on the market. We're seeing heavy pressure on the bottom end that's being, the floor has moved up, like we've talked about in the past. And the last thing I want to show you is this, the last 7-day numbers, 29 new listings, 37 sold or closed, 42 under contract. Still, there is a little bit of a difference between the new listings and the under contracts. I think this is a pretty healthy number for us here, right? We've seen these numbers in the past, about 29 to 30. I'd like to see probably about 35 new listings. But pending properties 42 gives you a little bit of insight on what is really happening in the Villages, Florida real estate market. So like I said before, if you have questions, you know how to find me. You can call me or text me at the number we talked about before, 352-572-3796. And you can also visit our website here if you're interested in properties. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and looking forward to just giving you just more content. If you have a direction you want me to go in and you want to know about something, I could definitely have that person or that concept or that information on this channel. So looking forward to seeing everybody soon. Take care.